But I'm going to begin by asking you, Drew, I mean, how closely did you work with Andy on this project? And was it quite helpful to have him kind of involved, or sometimes do you prefer just to say, right, I need to do this on my own accord?
Well, you know, every project is different, but with The Martian, I love this book so much, you know, and one of the first things I did when it was a blog. It started when Andy was just giving away this book for free on the internet. And we called him and said, look, your life's about to change. You know, you can quit your day job, because he was still working at his day job. And, you know, I didn't want to do this movie without Andy's help and blessing, and also he's much smarter than me. So that helped.
Because, I mean, it is so kind of, it's very intellectual and it all feels very authentic and very scientific, and I didn't once say, oh, that wouldn't happen. I abided by it the whole way through. But how do you go about ensuring the film remains accessible and entertaining to people who, a lot of this does sort of go over their head, like myself?
Yeah, that was sort of my job, because, you know, Andy got the science right, and my job was to just make it into an entertaining movie. And so I would just work away and try to shape the book, and then when I get it to a place I thought Andy'd be happy with it, I'd send it to him and he'd say, okay, you screwed this up, and then he'd fix my science for me.
And I mean, when you write a great screenplay, do you not think sometimes, man, I really want to do this one myself? Or does it sometimes get to a point when Ridley Scott says, well, I'm interested, you just go, well, if you're interested, Ridley, this one's probably for you? You
know, Ridley is my favorite director of all time. So when he says yes, you just step out of the way.
But when you were writing the screenplay, did you ever, did you know originally that Ridley might come on board? Or did you go back and kind of change it slightly when you knew that he was on board to kind of suit his sort of sensibilities as a filmmaker?
Yeah, once Ridley came aboard, he sort of had his own spin and take on it, and we'd work together to sort of craft it.
Yeah. And can we expect to see you sort of direct again soon? Because so far, sort of Cabin in the Woods, it's a 100% track record.
Yeah, nowhere to go but down, right? No, that's the plan. I mean, I don't, you know, it's tricky getting movies together, but I would imagine I'll be directing again soon.
Yeah. When watching the movie, I mean, it's such a kind of fantastic tale that takes you through all the kind of emotions as an audience member. Are you able to get immersed in the tale despite the fact you wrote it? Can you watch it and really get into it and kind of feel emotion when you need to feel emotion? Was that a bit too difficult when you're the man behind the screenplay?
No, certainly with this movie, and part of it's because I just love the book so much, and the book resonated emotionally with me. I watch this movie and I burst into tears every time. It's always at a different place, you know, each time I watch it, because there's something new I notice each time. But I find this movie to be very sort of emotionally heart-rending.
And in regards to NASA's involvement, I mean, obviously they did play a big part in this. I was just wondering if they were involved in your sort of aspect of the writing process.
When I was writing, I went to JPL, which is in Pasadena, and I'd go to NASA and just tour there. And so much of what they taught me went into the movie directly. And then once we got the script to a place, we'd sent it to them, and they made sure I didn't screw up too much.
And I mean, you've got some really exciting sort of projects in the pipeline. Sinister Six is obviously the one a lot of people are talking about. I mean, how big a role can we potentially expect to see Spider-Man play in this one? Or is this very much going to be focusing on the villains? Well,
you know, the truth is, we're a few years out from any Sinister Six happening, so you know, a lot can change between now and then. But my idea for it was always to make it a big, epic Spider-Man movie. Yeah.
But sort of potentially a versus movie then.
Sort of, yeah. You know, I can't say too much or Marvel will execute me. but the idea was to just celebrate all the things I love about Spider-Man. Robopocalypse.
That's the one.
That's it.
Is that sort of still happening? Is Spielberg still attached to that one?
You know, the thing I've learned with Hollywood is you never know. And he's still planning it. I don't know when, but it's a great look. It's a great book too, written by Daniel Wilson, and Stephen's got it.
Yeah. And of course, I mean, finally, you've got the sort of the Cloverfield sequel is another one that's sort of been talked about. I mean, this is your first cinematic sequel. I was just wondering what it's like kind of revisiting old ground for the first time and finding that balance between adding something new and unique to the franchise and yet kind of remaining quite faithful to what the audience members loved.
Yeah, and we don't even know if Cloverfield 2 is going to happen, because the truth is we only want to do it if we can make a movie that'll stand on its own. None of us want to just do a sequel for sequel's sake. And so we're trying to find that as we speak, but because you're right, like, we don't want to just make another sequel. Like, it's fine. We love the movie. We don't ever want to tarnish what we've already done.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for your time today.
Absolutely.
Much appreciated.
That was great.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey You Guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yeah.
Nice.
Hey You Guys!